Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing. Testing.
Yo ma, and welcome to the PAC Show, proudly brought to you by PAC Athletic Club and DoubleTake Sports, the show that brings you all the highlights, the lowlights, the reviews, the previews, the news, and the interviews from rugby here in Australia and around the world. My name is Jay Board. Joining us tonight, we have Dos. We also have Dallin, and he's back from his bender. He's feeling a bit better now. He's gotten over his bad case of benderitis. It's Ryan Freeney. Freens, how you feeling, mate?
Mate, I feel a million pesos.
So I say like $6.
Yeah. No, mate, I went to gym for the first time in like 2 weeks tonight. Absolutely. Didn't have water there, so I'm just, I feel a bit better.
Well, run us through, mate. How was your weekend last week?
Yeah, mate, it was good. It was good. I got in character. Well, I started for like a couple of beers on Friday, and
A couple.
yeah, it just ended up 3 o'clock next morning, still going, and then I was like, I got to go home.
On Monday morning.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, fuck. I wish I was still playing.
I have to say, and we talked about it last week, hey, you are probably the only guy in Queensland who could get away with being on that West bus from
mate.
Suncorp to the kennel
Yeah.
and not get bashed.
Mate, it was good fun. I just fucking got into character and just, well, I didn't give a fuck what anyone thinks. So, like, like, I copped it, man. I was copping it from everyone. You fucking trade and all this and that. It's like, fuck off, mate. I'm having a ball.
You got no affiliation with any club anymore?
Yeah, Jeeves.
No.
I love him. Yeah.
Huh?
Oh, no, but I was a PAC correspondent, so
Yeah.
He's
we're
a
Saxonland,
mercenary.
baby. We're just here for rugby.
Yeah, exactly.
That's true.
And
That's
like
true,
I said,
man.
I reckon, mate, if you're not in the finals, get around, just find one of the teams and just go and support them. Get more people there. It was fucking awesome fun.
I'm pretty sure Hunter Thomas did that a couple of years ago for East, didn't he?
Mate.
Yeah.
You did? Yeah, you did. That's right.
It's like at the club. I think he was one of the last guys at the clubhouse after the grand final, apparently.
Yeah. Mate, they put it on. West fucking put it on. They didn't spare, any expense. That was a good day.
Yeah.
And night.
4 a.m. liquor license extension,
Yeah.
eh?
Yeah,
Onto
it
the
was
field too.
I was munted, but I think I tapped out about one. Got someone to pick me up and said, "Just hold me."
Who picked you up?
Doesn't matter, mate. Oh fuck! What a fragile human for that week. It took me to Thursday.
I reckon.
I was saying to Dos on the way here, I was just looking on in disbelief because 3 days in a row at our age takes a long, long time to come back.
No spring chicken anymore, mate.
Nah, mate. Still got it though. No, I loved it. It was good fun. It was so much fun, mate. What a weekend.
What a weekend. Oh, man.
It was actually really good at the Jeeps. Silly Saturday we had at the Bowls Club because everyone just sent it there. I think our theme was Bogan race day. And
So like white shoes, white
Yeah,
belt,
yeah,
white
just
Oakleys, brothel
real-
creepers,
yeah, just it was good, mate. Everyone turned it on there.
Bogan race day.
Yeah, so it was good.
That is bloody good gas, man. Speaking of good gas, we've got an absolutely huge show this evening. We've got two special guests joining us. We've got Laurie Weeks, who's going to be joining us in just a few minutes' time to help us discuss the Wallabies and some other things. And then later on, after training, Jack Debrasini, the new
Fingers
Brumbies
crossed.
fly half. Yeah, if all things go to plan, could be the new Nani Laumape. He'll be joining us as well to run through everything that's looking pretty good for the Brumbies in the off-season. New signing back in Australia. It's good to see him throwing the pill around. We're also obviously going to discuss the Challenger Series that's kicking off next week, which is absolutely huge, and the Australia race squad's just been announced. So there's a few things we want to rip into. So without further ado, let's just get straight into it, shall we? And man, this one hurts. Dos, 40-14. The All Blacks completely dismantled the Wallabies. Absolutely smashed them.
Just an absolute class above. I mean,
Didn't help starting with this yellow card.
that doesn't help.
That fucked us.
But I mean,
Well fucked.
honestly, on that point, man, the Wallabies' ill discipline is their Achilles heel at the moment. I
It
mean,
is.
Every game playing with a man down for a minimum 10 minutes, most games 20 minutes. Against teams like All Blacks, Springboks, Argentina, you're never going to be in with a chance when you give away that amount of penalties. It's 100% something that they've got to look at.
It is. It's been, as you hit the nail on the head, it's their Achilles heel. It's the one thing that, like, we rant and rave, Dal, about how inconsistent the Wallabies are. The only thing that they consistently do is have ill discipline. It's literally the most consistent thing they have.
Yeah, it's becoming a bit of a theme, obviously, and it's hard to watch, right? Because we're all supporters of the Wallabies. We want to see them do well, and sometimes you just think they're shooting themselves in the foot, you know what I mean, on these occasions. Obviously, it's easy for us to say from here, but it is. It's becoming a theme, and it's obviously something that needs to be addressed.
Some of those fucking yellow cards we're getting and whatnot, like some of that, like, when does that ever happen? You know what I mean? Those sort of things. It's pretty.
When does whatever happen?
Lifting him over
Jet
the
Holloway.
horizontal and stuff
Yeah.
like that. It's little things that, I don't know, maybe at that level that shouldn't really be happening.
It
as
shouldn't be
much.
happening.
You know what I mean?
I mean, every other side in World Rugby seems to
they started well too.
do pretty well. The Wallabies started great. That's what makes this so disappointing. Dos, you actually said this is probably one of the first games you've watched live all year.
Yeah.
And I was at a wedding, so I had no idea what the score was, but I was getting updates from you about how disappointed you were, and you were getting frustrated,
Mate, just
more and more frustrated by the messages went along.
100%. And I mean, as Freen said, the first 20 minutes, it was good. They were competitive. They were sort of, you could tell they were on the back foot. You never felt like they had the upper hand. They were just, withstanding attack after attack. They were rock solid. And then, just too many penalties. And against a team like if we give them too many opportunities, the floodgates will open at some point. But the first game all year that I've watched live, disappointing. I mean, but the other thing is, like, the All Blacks, they grow a third leg at Eden Park, so you can't read into the result too much.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the spiritual home of rugby for them. Whenever they go
They
there,
had a point to prove too.
I mean, they had a point to prove, and then to make it even worse, the week leading into it, Rennie's come out and saying things about the haka, about Rico
just
Ioane.
shut up about the haka.
Man,
shut up about anything about.
I get it. I get it.
Don't buy
paint
any
that
bands
bear,
of it.
yeah.
It's just like, it's going to be a good game. We'll see how we go.
Yeah.
Just don't
I
say anything about that.
I kind of understand it. It was, a controversial way that they lost the week before, and you want the coach to come out and back his team or whatever. But it's like, man, don't poke the bear, exactly as you
But
said.
still, that was our discipline again, sort of thing. Like,
yeah.
it was a fucking whatever.
But
No,
yeah,
well,
I mean,
it's what I was touching on
Yeah.
before. Every other team in World Rugby seems to, like,
We
everyone's getting carded left, right, and centre. We know that, but we seem to be doing it on such a higher scale than any other team. Like, but just for things as well that shouldn't be, like a creeping head clash or a mistimed tackle is one thing, but that was a lifting tackle there.
Yeah.
Dave Parecki just dives at the legs. We see Darcy Swain take out a knee, headbutt someone. Like, it happens a lot.
yeah.
club level.
Yeah, but that's when you should be doing that.
Yeah.
Like, what was it, Chris Kurandrani against Brick Twydale? Yeah, man, if you get away with it, go for it.
Yeah, 100%.
But you're not going to get away with it here.
Yeah, and I mean, the dangerous thing is they're going to Europe where they'll look
it's
much
even worse.
closer at these sorts of
We don't
things,
get the
and they'll go in with the referees and the officials with the preconceived idea that the Wallabies are ill-disciplined and give away these sorts of penalties. So
But the thing is as well, we don't get those 50-50 calls. Like, not often do we have a game where we're going to get the rubber of the green with those 50-50 calls. So fucking, you've just got to sort it somehow, I guess. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
yeah, it does.
It does.
Yeah. And you go into Europe, fuck, those guys suck.
But what I mean, this is, you've got to say,
I saw a stat, could be wrong, on that Rugby Bloke page on Instagram today. We've got like 29 injuries. Could be wrong. But we've had 29 injuries or something throughout this test window. And that is
we had
We've
12.
had 29 injuries, or we've currently got 29 players.
I think maybe had.
Because
I
you've
think
had Edgar Spell was
over
out for a period
yeah.
and came back,
Yeah.
all that sort of stuff. And at one stage, we had 12 players out. Like 12,
So we've got to help ourselves, I guess. don't
20,
you? You know
like
what I
guys
mean?
you'd have in your match day 23 were injured. You know, like
So you're saying it's not all doom and gloom?
Yeah. I don't think it's doom and gloom at all, but I think we need to help ourselves with our discipline, etc. Like, if we're having those, guys injured and all that sort of stuff, we've obviously got to give ourselves the best chance. So, I don't know.
Yeah.
I wasn't a disciplined player, so I can't fucking talk.
And I mean,
Just
like,
be better.
and I mean, do you agree, Dal, when you have, and we talked about this last week, Rob Leota, Quade Cooper, and who's the third guy with an Achilles injury?
Harry Johnson Holmes.
And Harry Johnson Holmes, all with
True.
Achilles injuries. The amount of injuries that they've had this calendar year, you know, and the amount of sports science that we have access to, like, is that something they have to consider?
Yeah, I think so. I think they need to look at it. And obviously, my understanding is they don't believe the players are fit enough coming into camp. And so therefore they put them in almost like a 2 to 3 week of hell to try and get them up to speed. And obviously there's going to be casualties in that. And then look at some of the key guys we just talked about, like Quaid, obviously, you know what I mean? He's no longer a spring chicken. So obviously his body's going to be maybe not used to that, especially coming back from Japan. So they've got to look at what they're doing there and understand how they can be better and look to kind of make a bit of a difference, you know what I mean? Because the amount of injuries we've had.
I mean,
Is
it's
that right?
rid-
So they thought they weren't like fit enough or whatever going in. So
yeah.
far out. Well, how does that happen when you've got a rough idea of what your squad's going to be? I don't know.
I mean, it's just differences of opinions between
Yeah.
S&C coaches.
Yeah, that's right.
It's like they all sort of, and I don't know what it's like at the moment, but what I was sort of used to is you sort of ran your own race in terms of the S&Cs deciding these are the levels that we're going to hit for our yo-yo or your beat test or your 1.2K time trial that they do this week. These are the amount of kilometers that we're going to hit per week, outside backs, inside backs, type 5, whatever. And so you've all got your limits, and everyone sort of did it differently. But I think, you know, a Wallabies guy, they're also separate from the other Super Rugby teams. And they come in, they're like, oh, these are the levels that we want to hit. Whether it's judged
because
off,
it's an international standard.
whether it's judged off other international teams and other games, which I'm assuming that it would be, and it's like, all right, we got to get the guys to this level. And so in the past there has been, I guess, a sort of misalignment between Super Rugby and the Wallabies.
Yeah.
To my understanding, that was all sort of addressed and everyone was on the same page and blah blah blah. But I think it's still something that they have to look at, considering the amount of injuries that we've had.
Yeah, that's interesting.
It is interesting. Your opinion, Dal, this is a foul mark for the Rugby Championship, definitely, but like, they did a hell of a lot worse than I was anticipating. That just from what they showed, I think what they showed, there was glimpses of what they can do, but again, their inconsistency was it's just a massive bugbear for mine.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's everyone's bugbear because 1 minute you're riding this high of, geez, we're back. And the next week it's like, whoa.
Literally every round was kill it, shit the bed, kill it, shit the bed, kill it, shit the bed.
Yeah, absolutely. But also, I think if we discussed this before, it's also a look at how strong World Rugby's become as well. Right? If you look at Argentina, you look at South Africa, look at all those type of things, I think it's showing that the strength from teams 1 through 10 now, do you know what I mean? Even maybe 1 through 12.
Well, we're 9th now.
That's right, but anyone can beat anyone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Argentina beat New Zealand, did they?
Yep.
Yep. South Africa beat New Zealand.
Yep.
New Zealand beat, everyone kind of beat each other that whole process. So that's it. But yeah, like as a country, we just want more consistency. So that's all we need to get to. And we should be aiming for the World Cup. So all of this is part of that process. I don't care whether they lose 10%, if they win 10% of games up into the World Cup, if they win the World Cup.
100%.
That's all that matters.
Correct.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that.
South Africa are in a similar boat.
But you need momentum
ago.
going
That's right,
into
you
the
do.
World Cup.
Momentum, absolutely.
Yeah. It's a weird one. I don't think the calls to sack Dave Rennie are
No way.
warranted.
No way.
I don't think it is doom and gloom. They are good. It's just, look, injuries hurt, but at the end of the day, like,
Injuries affect
it looks
us.
like there's a mindset, there's a something going on in the brain for these boys where it's like rocks and diamonds.
Let's
think injuries
ask Laurie what he thinks.
Oh, yeah, speak of the devil. Laurie Weeks is joining us on the blower. Laurie, how are you, brother?
Boys, I'm good. How are we?
Living the dream. Living the dream. I'm sure you might have just caught the back would have caught the back end of that one. Did you get a chance to have a watch the Wallabies over the last couple of weeks? Your thoughts on the Bledisloe, mate?
Mate, I just actually caught the back end of what Dal was saying, mate, and I completely agree. It's since I've retired, I've become this massive one-eyed Wallabies fan. Like I couldn't support them more. Genuinely, I wasn't like this before. I just love the boys. I get around them, support everything they do, and I love this team, and I like the players that we've got there. I think they're the right people, and I think, as Dal was saying, we just need to get that consistency. Like we proved that we're up there, and that we can perform the best. Like the win over South Africa, like that's massive. Mm-hmm. But I also don't like to. I don't like to judge our performance or rate ourselves purely on our performance against the All Blacks. There's a mentality there that's been there for a couple of years now. So I don't know. Like I'm a big supporter, and going back to your question, what did I think of the Bledisloe, mate? After that first test, it took me like 3 days to genuinely settle down and just sort of. It did.
100%.
I think that was the moment I realized, like, I must be a fan. I care so much. And then, look, to be fair, and if I'm going to be honest with you guys, I watched the second Wallabies test after the Swans game. I started drinking at the start of the Swans game.
Yeah.
I probably remember about the last 20 minutes anyway. Sorry, the first 20 minutes anyway.
So, yeah, you're not the man to talk to in regards to what happened in Bledisloe on the weekend. Glad we got you on the blower then, Laurie. Cheers, brother. But no, in all seriousness...
I did go back and rewatch things just...
Yeah, just cop the highlights on Stan. But in all seriousness, you sort of touched on it. The mentality is there. I mean, you retired a few years ago. You're in the game for the better part of a decade, be it at the Reds or the Rebels, and then a few tests with the Wallabies. From the outside looking in, and from what you know from probably talking to some of the blokes and so on, there is like a definite cultural shift. There is a definite mindset that's changed from sort of when you were there over the last decade.
And I think, and it comes down to it, like there's no individual stars. I think everyone puts in and plays an equal part in the success of the team. And purely for the guys that I know, and there's many that I don't, are fantastic human beings. Fantastic human beings. Like I look at guys like Rob Leota and Pone Famasili, two of the best human beings I know. And then throwing Vic Hayden Neville as well. So it's like, you know what I mean? There's some great human beings in that team.
Couldn't pick a more diverse bunch.
I think that's what frustrates us the most, though. Like we've had a lot of injuries, but you see the group of players that we've got at the moment, and they're good footy players. And like when we've seen the potential, when like that South Africa game was unbelievable, and then like you even look at the Australian A side, and that like you just got all these good players, and that's why I get upset. But then I'm like, fuck, I just can't wait for the World Cup. Hopefully, all these guys
just
are
hoping
back.
that it all just clicks.
Yeah, and I think like I honestly have a good feeling, but I had a good feeling I was going to win the lotto this week. But I honestly like it's exciting if we can field our team for fucking more than 2 weeks. I think it will be good to get, the results will come.
Yeah, man, I agree. Weeksy, mate, you talked about, but it's just so good to see you, by the way.
I love the enthusiasm.
It's been a while, hasn't it?
It's been so long. We talked about, or you just talked about them being really good blokes. And these guys won't know, but Weeksy was the unofficial best bloke ever in 2010, 2011, I would say Super Rugby. We have an ongoing thing. Weeksy is he genuinely the best bloke around. Mate, watching the Bledisloe, you've been retired for a couple of years now. Do you ever get itchy feet putting the boots back on?
I Mate, how's this? So, I coach down at Sydney Uni and loosely coach. Like, I take scrums and look after a couple of the front rowers, put them under my wing. And like, I remember the first time I rocked up and I was like, geez, I'd love to run around and just put shots on all these boys. Mate, the longer I got there, I realised that I am absolutely kidding myself. No longer have it. I'm definitely not with it. But in saying that, Tom English and Nick Sturzak are coming back to the students next year. So they've quietly suggested we play lower grades together. And look, to be fair, mate, I'm probably not up for that either. But no, mate. Look, I'm pretty glad my rugby days are over. Quite glad.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more, because I watch games and I'm like, man, I could still mix it with these dudes. And then I went and played in Dale's TRL team. I've made 2 appearances, strained my groin the first week, and then did my calf last night. I was like, nah.
It's no good, mate.
I can't do this anymore.
Yeah, no good, mate. What was it? Aqua Rugby, mate. I tore my hamstring. I was like, I'm going to take a big carry. This is going to be awesome. Fucking hamstring gone.
Well, mate, you've still got it. Ask Malachy, our Welsh mate from down there, running on, I think, 0 sleep. Like, I'm taking the first hit up. We're like, go for it. Kick off, run straight at Laurie Weeks, just planted. Shoulder charge. He's out, and he's like, tries to get up.
I saw his eyes, and it's like he looked at me and just ran dead straight. And I was like, I'm going to do this.
And then the ref's like, yeah, no, you're off. So he was on the pitch for all of about, 3 seconds, you'd say?
Yeah.
Oh, mate.
Are you playing this year, Laurie, in the Aqua Rugby?
Yes, yeah. Oh, look, I think I'll make an appearance for the Perth Spirit. Is it the WA Spirit again? Yeah,
we'll both pull a hammy, I think, and go and get hydrated.
Oh, 100%. Mate, it's a dangerous game, because the games aren't until like 3 p.m. So if you rock up at 10 a.m. and there's open bars there.
Oh yeah.
Mate, not in the best shape to be playing footy. Maybe that's why I tore my hammy.
Laurie, I wanted to talk to you about the Shoot Shield, and I want you to give us a bit of insight into what is Sydney Uni. Obviously, we're from north of the border. We don't necessarily get, the ability to see what happens in there. But year after year after year, this club is just monumental, and they absolutely dominate. And this year we kind of looked at it, and we followed it quite closely, and it was one of the closest competitions ever. But again, they just rose to the top, and Hedge was at the helm, and he's obviously a pretty impressive character as a coach. But tell us about what makes that place so special, and what makes it, a place that is just constantly successful.
Mate, this is, and it is the simplest answer, and it's consistent hard work. It's a culture of consistent hard work. When Hedge was about to join, he gave me a call first, and he said, "Mate, what am I to expect?" And I said, look, Hedge, you will have no issue with training loads, with intensity, with trying to get these boys on the field to do their best. It's ingrained in them. I know when I started when I was there, nearly 20 years ago, you had guys like Tom Carter and Tim Davidson who instilled this culture where it's all about outworking everyone else. So when it came to the game, you had absolute faith and trust. And look, those early days, what they've done now, they've built this culture of winning. And so it's a strange one. And I remember my last couple of years playing for uni, you'd be in a game, you'd be in a semi-final down by 2 points, 10 minutes to go, absolute no worries at all, knowing full well that you're going to come through and win this game. And there's just those little things that make a difference. And I contrast that to my time at the Rebels. We'd be up by 10 with 10 to go, and we're like, shit, we're gonna lose this. That was the feeling, and it's like it's in complete contrast. So look, it's and that's not me talking bad about the Rebels now. I don't have anything to do with them, so I don't know what their culture and inner sanctum's like. But that at my time there, but yeah, look, it is. it's taken 20 years to get to a point now where we were able to field pretty much 90% of the guys were second graders last year, who just moved through and then end up winning one of the tightest competitions I've ever seen. And like full credit to them, amazing guys. Love a beer, so they're not nerds.
I beg to differ.
Oh, yeah. Well, they're obviously not like the uni guys up here then.
Oh, yeah.
Is it a bit of a different culture between uni up here and down there? Like, is up here it's a bit more transient. Down there is the Sydney uni boys. A lot of the guys stay at the club for a long time and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. So look at right now, we're still looking to get anyone who's moving. A lot of the guys, especially sort of from my era, are retiring now and wrapping things up, looking to move back to Sydney. And sort of everyone's first port of call is to come back to the club and just almost as their base. And it's it's so good just having the older heads around to develop that culture and continue that culture. And like even when I was there this season, guys who were old when I was there and first started playing as a 20-year-old are still at that club, turning up on Saturdays to watch games. So it's genuine, and I get the hate, and secretly I love it because I'd much rather be hated for being good than being mediocre.
Well, you won't like this show then.
But you nailed it there, Weeksy. And what I like to hear from you then was you were saying that there are a few guys, obviously around our age, overseas who are retiring and they're wanting to come back to the club. And I think that's just, it's super important. I talked to Benny Moen about it when we came back in 2020. And he was just like, mate, and he is like a passionate East Tiger. And he was like, there was no other way this was going to go. As soon as I hung up the boots from professional footy, I was going to come back. And it's like, you think about how much the game of rugby has given us and how many experiences it's given us. It only seems right to come back and contribute to where it all sort of started.
Yeah, 100%. And it's exactly the same thing, mate. People I think a lot of guys sort of recognise the impact that playing for Sydney Uni had on their career. I know I certainly had. Like, I don't think I would have made it at another club. So it's almost just it's repaying not the favour, but like just repaying the people there, because I think the top dogs there, when you're talking about the CEO, the presidents and chairman, are all the same people who were there 20 years ago. There's a lot of stability in their structure there.
Yeah, and it just feels like the right thing to do, hey. And tell me, how did you enjoy being on the other side this year, coaching the guys? Was that something that you'll look to do more in the future?
Do you know what? I don't think so. Look, I'm a rugby fan, mate. I don't like. I like what I do. So my role there at the moment is semi-mentoring the young forwards, working on a few scrum things, but mainly as a mentor to especially the type 5 guys, and especially the props who just need a lot of loving, because at that young age, there's so many cases of young props who they throw in the deep end immediately, don't crack it, they get rid of it.
Yep.
And it's happened to multiple props who are still back at uni, and I'm like, no, bide your time, sit here, keep playing, 100%. Get better. And one of my things that I like to say at training is when someone gets dicked in a scrum, just take it, learn from it. It's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the session. You are going to get dicked a million times before you start to get good and confident. And I use myself as an example. I said, like, I played 10 years. It was probably 5 years in before I wasn't losing sleep about scrums before games. Like, it took that long for me to be super confident in myself. And look, it might be different for other players. But me passing on my own experience to these players is the best way of doing it. And so, to answer your question, mate, look, I don't have any sort of ambitions to be a coach right now. It's an extremely stressful job. I've got a job away from rugby, which I enjoy.
Yeah.
And it pays me money. The coaching scrums doesn't.
What, Laurie, mate? What's your favourite sort of Mad Monday, what's your favourite Mad Monday over all the years and clubs and all that you've done?
Mate, actually, there was one that Dal was involved in, which was amazing.
Yeah, down in Melbourne, it was outstanding.
Down in Melbourne, mate. Look, there was to be fair, I think we kickstarted it pretty well our first year in Melbourne. A couple of the injured guys, I think it was Jimmy Hilgendorf and I forget who else, organised an amazing race around the entire city. And so, like, there were different pubs all over the place. No one was allowed to carry cash, so like you had to hop on trams and hitchhike and all this. And then everyone met back up at the final pub. And to be fair, it kind of set a standard for the years going forward.
Well, that's it. No one would know.
Personally, every year was like, nah, Mad Monday, we've got to do better.
And no one would know you guys down there either, so it's even worse.
Oh, mate.
Who are these fat guys running around our town?
Well, one thing, Laurie, I want to get your opinion on this because obviously I don't know if you still are, but at one stage you were the most capped Rebel of all time with 82 odd caps. And there was an article by Hamish Bidwell, an opinion piece talking about the standard of Aussie rugby in relation to New Zealand, and he was saying things of the ilk that, the 5 Super Rugby sides that wouldn't even be up to the scratch of NPC sides on their day. Obviously bullshit, but we've seen a lot of turmoil with the Force obviously dropped out in favour of the Rebels a few years ago. Now they're back again, and we see the Super Rugby AU season doing pretty well, but then we do struggle a little bit against the Kiwi sides. In your opinion, having been there and now obviously on the outside and looking at the club scene, which is really thriving, what do you think is something we can really do to try and take what we've got with the tribalism from the club scene and the quality we've got with the players playing Wallabies to try and get that sort of conduit between, or that is Super Rugby, up to that standard where we really need it to be that pathway for the higher echelon teams?
This is a really good question, and like I think if you think back to 2020 during COVID when we were in lockdown and we were just playing that Australian competition and we're only playing each other, and I'd admit every time we play them in Super Rugby we get spanked like 90% of the time. When we're only playing Australian teams, the games were tighter. More eyes were on the games. And then when it came to the test series, the boys didn't have this mentality of getting pumped by the Kiwi teams week in, week out. So they didn't have that edge against us. And I remember. I think a couple of those tests. I think Hodgie. There was that one where Hodgie just hit the bar at the end with a kick, but like. We were so close with the All Blacks in those games, and everything. We just seemed like a different beast against that team. And look, to be fair, like I think you don't. As a Super Rugby player, I would have been really upset to not have the opportunity to play against the Kiwi teams. Mm-hmm. But for the greater good, like I feel that having an Australian comp doesn't do us any damage. And look, I don't know what you guys think about it, but that's. Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about it. I really value our Australian competition. I value our Australian players. But I do. But in saying that, on the other hand, I do agree that to be able to test yourself against the Kiwi teams who are better at this point in time, you don't want to miss out on that as a professional rugby player.
True. So it's more about looking internally and focusing on your own shit before you sort of look at other things. But then at the end of the day, how do you know how good you're going until you do test yourself against the best, really?
Exactly. But yeah, it's rough, mate. Like we're dealing with. We watch all the other football sports here in Australia going that way, and look, New Zealand, they have nothing to compete with. They've got their best players, the best in the country playing in that sport. I don't know. Look, I don't have the answers. I'm not the guy. If you're looking for the answers tonight, I'm not the guy.
Well, Jack Debrezini's on the show next, so maybe he might have an answer for us.
There was that bad stat on the weekend though. Hey, it was like the AFL got like 2.1 million, the NRL got 1 point something, and then we got like 190,000 to watch
the Bledisloe
Wallabies
viewers,
versus All Blacks.
Yeah,
It's tough.
It's tough to sort of decipher what is best to do, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
We'll talk about it over beers at PAC Rugby.
Yeah.
I reckon we'll
I'm sure
solve
that's where you'll solve all the world's problems.
100%.
And that's when the juices start flowing.
And then we'll be nude scrummaging. It'll be perfect.
Sounds hot. Can't wait. Well, Laurie, thanks so much for joining us, brother. We really appreciate your time and your thoughts on it, mate, and all the best with it.
No, amazing. Thanks so much, guys. Thank you.
All right,
Thanks,
see you
mate.
later, Rugby,
Thanks,
brother. Peace. Laurie Weeks, everybody. Round of applause.
What enthusiasm.
Yeah.
Just another girth boy just bringing the lols. I love it. I got in trouble from Sione too from swearing. Sorry about that, Sione.
Yeah, we all saw that too.
Yeah.
Mate, how good was his just energy?
Yes.
Mate.
Yes.
Yeah,
But
loves
do
the
you
game.
see, it's like
It is-
Harry Higgins. You get these dudes who just like froth the game.
I'm pretty
and they've got
excited.
this like
Pretty
just
excited
these
for
guys
aqua
who just
rugby.
love the game.
Yeah, mate,
Oh,
he
mate.
is Weeksy, honestly, and Dell, like just one of the all-time greats. Just a genuine, good dude,
I really
good
like-
human.
I really like that point, though. I know you probably guys don't care, but like about the front rowers and stuff like that.
Oh,
Just
man,
the
it's-
tight five, like breeding that sort of culture. Like, there's one good thing I loved when I went back for those couple of weeks. Is the young guys, you know, we're doing proper live scrums, and the young guys just like love it. The guys playing Reggies, and everyone was just trying to better themselves.
Yeah, but
It's good to-
but it's huge, man, and especially someone like Laurie Weeks going back down, and in this day and age, and Dal would know more than better than any of us. Like, young guys are in a rush. They're in a rush to make it.
That's it.
So having someone like Weeksy down at a club like Sydney Uni, you know, when guys, these young props, they're coming through, they get dominated or whatever, and they're like, fuck, this is terrible. I just, you know, I'm going to go try to do something else. And him, who's played for the Wallabies, just like, hey guys, just hang on.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah,
it might
100%.
it might take a couple of years.
might
but
take
in,
10
You know,
years.
but in this scrum, this is what happened.
Yep.
You know, let's start to develop your neck strength or your glutes or
Well, that's-
whatever it may be. And when you hear it from him,
Yeah.
who has been there and experienced it all and done it, it has so much more, a much more profound impact on the player than someone else.
100%.
So it's great. It's great.
It is. You need those people down there doing that sort of stuff. It's
Bloody
and,
oath.
and it's awesome. Like, you know how you're talking about Ben Mowen and stuff. It's awesome to see, like, and it happened with uni. I know poor Cam Flavel got the arse, but when Chibber and Stephen Moore come back, but it's awesome to see like those ex-professionals coming back, trickling back into rugby where they sort of started.
Yeah, man. And how he just said Tom
Yeah.
English, Nick Sturzaker. I mean, although they're just
That's-
going to strengthen Sydney
Yeah.
Uni, it's like, fuck.
But it's good.
It's great, mate. It's great for Australian rugby.
I think everyone's sort of getting around it more. I hope it just keeps happening.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. I think for the game to really take off, you need as much shared knowledge coming back to the game as possible. So if you can get blokes like Laurie
Yep.
Weeks back in the mixer, it'll be pretty good both on and off the pitch.
Correct.
Alrighty, so we touched on it before. Commencing next week, I think the 8th is the first round of the 8th. What?
The Australia, right?
No, I
Oh,
was-
President's Day, sorry.
This guy, mate. Who's running the show?
Come on, man.
To stop trying to don't try to do a freens and take over. Don't try to do a
No,
freens.
this is your segment,
I
Dale. You good?
I skipped ahead.
Got any questions for me? No. Let's
Anyway, no, let's go, Jab. Let's go.
So what are we doing? No, we've got the Challenger Series with
Oh,
the
yes.
President's 15 was announced the squad earlier this week. Really exciting stuff. 2 rounds. The 8th down at Sunnybank, and then the 15th at East. Hopefully we can do something live down at Tigerland. That would be pretty bloody good to be able to do that. But a lot of law innovations as well. But we'll run through the squad announcements because there are some awesome names getting an inclusion there, guys. Alex Smith's in the mix. Connor Pritchard, you've got to love it. Dobby from West. Jake Upfield, I think, personally.
Yeah, man. He was good.
He had
He was
more
really
line-out takes than his double the line-out takes, I think, than the guy who came second all year behind him. Like there are some huge inclusions. I think seeing Michael Richards and Pat Murray is really
boy
good.
Reece Sheriff.
Yeah, Reece Sheriff's in there as well. So that's the President's 15s forwards, which is absolutely awesome to see. And then our boy, the pack captain, the skip right there, Ben Narvo, Cy Lungy, Brick Twidale's in there as well, Dan Borman, Eli Peels, Jordan Carrera, Coyotes, all guys that we were really anticipating would be in that mix are there. Louis Wershot. What do you reckon about that one, Dal? That's a good one, eh?
Oh, it's great.
It's good. It's good.
Reverse.
Utility back.
Utility back, but there's a lot of raps on Louis Wershon.
Yeah.
Not controversial at all. He's a guy.
Nah, like he's a
I'm just
player for the
staring at the
future.
And
we
he's
saw the
been
way
on their radar.
Yeah,
for a
that's
long
right.
time.
You saw the way he performed in that reserve grade grand final, and obviously took it by the scruff of the neck and won the game. And Australian 20s representative, he's done a terrific job this year and evolved as a player.
And it's good that I don't really know him personally or anything, but seems to be, he's been stuck behind someone all year that's sort of been patient, though. You know what I mean? Like, hasn't thrown his toys and gone anywhere else. You know what I mean? Like, it's good to see.
Yeah.
Tyler Campbell, special
I was
shout
about
out.
to say special shout out to your boy Tyler Campbell, the boy with the shit chop from down on the GC. So
He's fired up. He's
Is he
fired up.
really?
Yeah, he's fired up.
maybe we get him on the show next week. Can he just travel up the M1 and sit on the couch with you next week, take Big Fat Darce's spot? But I mean, looking at that squad, Doss, that is a hell of a side.
It is. It's a good team, man, and I can't think of anyone
Very well rounded as well, in my opinion.
100%. And it's like, and the inclusion of someone like Tommy Lucas, who wasn't actually going to play this year, and then he did, and man, he was unreal.
Rock solid.
He's awesome, mate.
He's
rock solid.
Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, Sunnybank just struggled with their depth, but it's a brilliant, and you can't think of anyone who should be in there that isn't, which is great. And I'm really looking forward to this contest.
Josh Collins.
Nah.
Next, just carry on. Let's
love him, mate.
Let's go through
Roman
the
Sandal.
through the Reds development.
But then there's a Reds development squad as well, so that actually includes a few QPR players, and the big one there has to be Connor Anderson and Connor Mitchell, both getting the call
Connor
up.
Mitchell, that's sick.
But like Connor Anderson, after the season he's had, Dow deserved spot.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, the best player in the competition, as voted by the referees this year, winning the Alec Evans medal, led West to a premiership. Like, he deserves every ounce that he gets, and it's probably the opportunity he needs to test himself at that next level. And we all know there's opportunities to tour available, and these guys have probably got the little level up against the other Presidents guys. So if they perform well, they'll probably book themselves a seat on the plane.
Such a good concept.
Bloody oath. It's such a great concept. And another interesting one there as well. Sam Wallace is one we saw. He was let go by the Rebels earlier this year. But for mine, it's Tane Reutery. So his old man's the coach of West Colts. And Tane went over to East just thinking probably get a better opportunity there. Got lured over. And in that final, the drawn final against UQ was absolutely deleting blokes left and right. So big raps on Tane.
Player of the match.
So you go with the dye,
the hair that was dyed.
Yeah,
he was.
And he's just evolved this year. Like he was a big body last year playing for Wests. Moved across the river, obviously, and he's just been sensational. Like he's, I think, understanding now how big he is, but also he's in control of his body. So it'll be interesting to see how he develops over the next 12
Did he
months.
have headgear on?
Nah.
No, his hair was just
Kinda
spray
like
painted
dyed.
like green and yellow and shit.
Circa Joey Johns.
He was
Yeah,
good,
okay.
man. He was good.
Good input.
No, I know the name and all that. I just can't remember him from this year. I just didn't follow East that closely. Sorry.
And then the Reds development backline, a lot of QPR talent in here. Headline,
Big
Chitto, mate. This is going to sound rude, and I don't mean it to be construed this way, but maybe I won't say it. But Chitto's a gun.
Say it, man.
Well,
Mate, I reckon
if
this
he
is...
wasn't at Norths, there's a good chance he would have been playing a hell of a lot higher footy. And I hate to say it,
Oh, yeah.
but
Probably.
I agree.
he and Chapo, it's how long has it taken Chapo just to get a Guernsey in the Aussie setup?
Yeah. Mate,
and he's
Chitto's-
the greatest
Chitto's
sevens player in the freaking world, man. And Chitto is just the most reliable centre in the comp for several years now.
What are you guys' honest opinions? I honestly reckon Presidents can give them a good run.
Oh, it's going to be a cracking
Yeah,
game.
it'd be a cracker
Yeah,
of a
it'll be
game.
an absolute
We've got
cracking
yeah,
game.
team like wanting to prove themselves, and guys, obviously want to get a spot. I reckon it'd be awesome.
And if you look at that,
The schedule?
no, yeah, if you just look at the Red squad to start with, you know what I mean? There's not a lot of continuity there, do you know what I mean?
No.
Especially in that back line, which I think it's going to make a little bit more individual brilliance. It's going to be more one-on-one battles, which I think makes it extremely exciting.
And I think that's going to come to the fore because, as we said, there are some law variations or innovations, as they are calling them, which are absolutely awesome. So, in particular, there's the tackle area. There's an effort to roll towards the sideline to help speed up to play the ball in the ruck. The deliberate knockdown is now, it's going to be adjudicated whether it's a deliberate knockdown or an actual attempt at an intercept. And if it's a deliberate knockdown, penalty only, no yellow card.
Perfect.
Which is brilliant. And then the advantage law, my bugbear for so long now is that advantage can literally go for 25, 30 metres and dozens of phases. So now it's 3 phases. The referee adjudicates whether they've had a good crack. If not, penalty.
It's how it should be.
Yes.
Yeah, it's good.
There's
This
no.
is good.
How can you say once a team goes 3 or 4 phases? How can you not say they haven't had an advantage? Like they've had 4 chops at getting over the ad line, or they make 5 metres,
And it's their own fault for not
being
having
shit.
a crack.
Yeah,
correct,
And it's
correct.
like, and what you make 5 metres up the field? That's not a good advantage. Like you literally see, there's a penalty given just inside the half, and they get inside the 22 and come back. They're crazy. So I reckon that's an absolutely awesome.
Do you think it'll evolve to be more time in play with the ball, or do you feel like you'll see more of boys like knocking the ball on so they can go quick tap? What do you think will happen?
Depends.
Is either bad though?
No.
You know what I mean? Like, I think it's hard to see which way it'll go. I remember 10, 15 years ago, they had those ELVs where everything was a half-arm bar, cynical stuff, and
It was so
quick.
fast,
Fast, man. It hurt my
the
lungs
original,
so bad.
the original NRC, and it was ridiculous.
And it was brutal.
It was
But-
so fast.
But it was great. And
Yeah,
it just
yeah.
sped the game up, and you actually found yourself playing at a higher tempo. You got used to it eventually. Fuck, it was hard. But, like, it's hard to see which way it'll go. Either way,
It's exciting.
like, a player goes, I spoke to Brett Cronin about this once. I said, can you actually just say to the ref, I want to take the penalty? And he goes, yeah. I was like, oh, why don't people do that more often? Like, if you get penalty advantage, go, I want to take the penalty. And they go, all right, blow it, quick tap, go. So that could actually become an option, which I reckon would be pretty awesome.
Yeah,
It
absolutely.
might help players not want to
Yeah.
infringe, because if you could run in left, right, and centre. Another one is in regards to the set piece. So the
Yes,
scrum,
massive.
1 collapse and no clear penalty, reset. Second one, no clear sanction. So just free half arm
Love it.
to
It's
the
good.
attacking side.
It's really
And they
good.
can't go
Past
back
the
to
5.
back to a scrum
No.
if it's the half arm.
No. And so
Yeah.
they can't go back to a scrum, and also the halfback can't go past the midline in the scrum. So a lot of the penalties as well is they're saying they're actual penalty kicks. So you can't actually just like opt to have a scrum.
The worst. It's so bad for front rowers, but yeah, it's good. for
It's
the game.
shocking.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Another, all they're really doing is try to make the
Yeah.
game flow better.
Yeah, and a better
Which is
spectacle.
so smart.
Yep.
Like, they're small things. Like, I always say, rugby league is so good at bringing something in. There's a bit of hoo-ha about it. Within a couple of months, they'll tweak it or make a clear, defined outline as to what it is. And it's a bit different with them because it is such a
Simple game.
simple game that you can
Very
actually
simple.
say, you can't catch the ball on the inside shoulder. Okay, there it is, done. Whereas there's a lot more moving parts in rugby. But at least this is now just being like, take all this extra added bullshit out. That happened, cool, let's play.
Yep.
Like, it'll speed the game up. And one thing as well, they said as well, lineouts, only contested lineout throws will actually be considered not straight,
Yep.
which is awesome. So, I don't know about you, Dow, but I love these law variations.
Yeah, I think it's great. Perfect time to test them. I'm pretty sure that the Brumbies and Waratahs tried a lot of these on the weekend as well, which implemented a little bit more of the running rugby. So I'm pumped. It'll be good, and let's see how it goes.
It's gonna be, mate. It's gonna be great because there are so many people that I've talked to who are not necessarily rugby people, and they watch all codes, and with the finals of the NRL and the AFL, and there's a lot of hype, and everyone's watching. If you're a sports fan, you're watching them, and then the conversation goes to rugby and the Bledisloe, and it's like, I lost interest because there are too many penalties. I don't really know the rules. It's slow. It's, and these sorts of this innovation and, the need for the players to just get on with it, and the referees, like, there are just, as you said, J-Ball, there's no real grey area. It's like one scrum collapse, okay, there might be not too sure what's happening. Second one, bang.
Yep.
It's a short arm, and we go. And we just carry on, man. And
Mate,
it's brilliant. It's brilliant.
The biggest thing I've realised recently, obviously we all love rugby, right? But for Bill Corp, we've got our Corporate 10s coming up. There's probably 3 of us who've played union ever before, the rest AFL League. And just to see their faces trying to explain simple, like defence, like around a ruck, what to do at a ruck, all this sort of stuff, you're like, you're just like, wow, it is quite a hard game. So these sort of cool variations of the law will be awesome because it will speed it up, make it more simple. Yep, I'm a huge fan.
Yeah, and speaking of speeding things up, there's a few more that we actually missed. So 5-second compliance at the back of a ruck. You've got 30-second scrum call from when the mark is set, which will probably hark back to the old 80s scrums where they just bind up and go against each other. Same with the line out, same with penalty kicks. Like, it's all just about making the game flow a lot better. So I think in that graphic there, you saw Taylor Adams. Like, I think someone like him, he's going to have an absolute field day with these variations. Him and Mac really,
100%.
Oh, mate, they will be absolutely going
Front
hell
rows
for leather
will
at
be
each
below.
other. Still waiting on Jack Debrasini to get in contact with us, unfortunately. He did have training tonight, so shit happens. But another big news item that has been announced over the last day or so is that it's a bit of a convoluted one that has a lot of moving parts. So we saw on the weekend just gone, Mick Heenan, finally, after 12 years at the helm of UQ, 9 grand finals, 6 premierships, he's decided to take the leap and move up and getting a gig with the Queensland Reds with a focus on the progression of non-match day 23 players, which I think is such a brilliant use of Hino's abilities. You've seen his ability to take players and get them up to a Super Rugby standard. He can do it in a season at UQ. So I think he'll be invaluable there, as well as the attack ruck situation. And then Phil Blake's come in for defence. So apologies, this might take a while. So that was announced on the weekend just gone. And then it was announced just yesterday that Nella, Teniela Tupou, he and his team have come to an agreement with Rugby Australia, so Rugby Australia now takes care of the negotiations from the top tier players, Dow. Is that the case?
Kind of. To a certain extent, yeah.
Yeah, like who they value as their top tier, they then take care of the negotiation and then filter down. So he has apparently agreed to a 4-year extension that'll take him through to the next World Cup in 2027, but hasn't confirmed whether it's with the Reds or not because of his, I guess, concerns, for lack of a better term, in regards to the coaching structure there post-2023. So, like, a lot of moving parts there. But your thoughts on this, Dow, is, like, A, the Reds, can they afford to lose Nella? And B, what does it mean for the Reds or the QRU as a whole when you've got, I guess, your biggest name player having some hesitancies about re-signing?
Can they afford to lose him? I feel like they're in a position where he's a key part of what they're trying to achieve. Nella's also in a position where he potentially feels like he might need a bit of a break. You know what I mean? So he might look to go overseas and come back refreshed.
As part of his Rugby Australia deal, there is a sabbatical option. Yeah,
so he might look to do that and then make a decision on that. I don't know, reading between the lines there and understanding what was printed, is it got a lot to do with that, or is it more about him personally going, well, hold on, I don't want to make a decision on my future anywhere until I get the ability to play my World Cup next year. I can re-sign with Rugby Australia, and then I'll make a decision if I go for a sabbatical on the back of that, because it might end up being 2025 that he's back playing in Australia post 23.
Yeah.
If there's a sabbatical at the front end of that, you know what I mean, he might spend. So how can he make a decision based on what's happening in 2025 right now. What's 2.5 years away, right? So that's the hard part. But can the Reds afford to lose him? He's such an integral part of what they do. But
he
No. No, I don't think so.
his IP, like who he is as a brand for Australian rugby, he's the face of it. He's the personality. He's a kook. He's funny as hell. He's an unbelievable talent. Like, they should be hanging their hat on him. And I don't think from both sides, you know, be it the commercial side as well as his playing ability, you can lose someone of Nella's persona and ability. But I don't know, like,
So
there's a lot of chat in regards to the whole coaching structure at the Reds. Obviously, there's a little bit of, I hate to say it, but turmoil. Like, there's some players who've had their noses out of joint, I guess, from some of the blokes you talk to. I don't know. Is there something going on there at the Reds that maybe could be rectified with a shake-up?
I think so, man. I think that we've heard too many rumblings to think that it's
Just a one-off.
It's something that we can
It's
brush off.
not just one
And
guy who's pissed off.
It's not just one guy, and I think, and there's been several guys who have left. You know, in their prime, and yes, they all had different reasons, but Angus Scott Young, Luke Hard, Murphy, Hamish Stewart, you know, guys who, yes, they've been around for a while and they're going to say the right things because they don't want to upset people. But, you know, the Reds, they've been somewhat successful over the last 3 years. Yes, we haven't played New Zealand teams as much as we have in the past. And it's been, but this year, the year that just went, it was like they just hung in games, and through the quality of their players,
Yes.
they got through and they got the results. So yes, they have been successful, but I can't help but think it was 2019 in Durban. We'd just beaten the Sharks, and we had a court session. All the boys went out, and me, Higgers, and a few other guys, we stayed back at the hotel, having a few beers, just having a chat. And I was talking to Higgins, and we were taking it from the perspective as older guys. And we were like, man, this group, like, we're just beating the Sharks in Durban for the first time in a while.
Yep.
And these are young guys. And I was like, man, this group of young guys are so special, and they're so talented. And we questioned it then. We were like, but is Thorny the right guy to unlock their proper potential? And back then, I didn't think he was. And we're a couple of years on now, and it feels like there are guys there now who were part of Thorny when he started at the 20s, and he'd brought them through, who are kind of, maybe they're just sick of the same old voice. I mean, and it goes back to the question, is like, was Thorny did he prepare enough? Like, was he in the right place to take on the Super Rugby head coach role? It's like, you rarely see anyone, like, all he did was coach the 20s. And then all of a sudden and all of a sudden he's got the most prestigious coaching role in Queensland rugby. It's like, man, to take on a role like that, it's my belief that, you've got to do your time. Is he a guy that, as a player, was the brains trust behind everything? Probably not. He was involved in probably the greatest team, arguably, that had ever graced a rugby field. But yeah, I think there
Would
are just
be more important, Nella or Thorny?
Nella.
Yeah, Nella, 100%. I mean, but I just think there are just too many murmurings and too many rumblings to just brush this aside and think there's not an issue up top.
Well, like I said previously in shows, I just think he's done a good job. He's done a really good job to get where we are. And in my opinion, I just think maybe it would be good to have. It would be good just to, I don't know, if they got another coach in and then just started, fresh again, and then kept building. I don't know.
Have they not gone and done this? Do you know what I mean? So if we look at it,
they've got
it's a
the
tough one,
assistants
mate.
around.
Yeah.
him.
So if we look at it from a completely devil's advocate position, like, they've gone and got Phil Blake. Don't know enough about him to make a judgment, but from all reports, operates quite well. Good fella.
Got a hell of a resume.
Great personality. Mick Heenan, he's a bloke who's got a relationship with almost every squad member in there, through NRC, through UQ, through whatever it is. Like, they've gone and made some changes. They've I think, to a certain extent, they've gone and addressed the rumblings. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Thorny's got 12 months left on his contract.
Yeah.
Let's see how that goes.
I think that's it. It's tough to sit here and throw barbs about whether he deserves to be there or whether
He's done a
he
great
will
job
be
so
there,
far.
because it's not like he's not going to be there next year. He does have 12 months. There's been a lot of movement. But you look at the bare bones facts, there are generational players at his disposal. Like they're at Fraser McWright, Harry Wilson, Jordan Pataya. Like these guys are generational players, and I don't want to sound like a dickhole here, but, you know, Jordan Pataya and I think Harry Wilson, they have plateaued in regards to their progression. You know, Jordan Pataya was arguably our best player at 2019 World Cup in his third test, where he was just awesome against, was it Uruguay or whoever? You know, Harry Wilson has been phenomenal. He's been tracking up, and I'm sure he might be the first to admit that he's probably plateaued a little bit over the last 18 months. I don't know. Does Brad Thorne have the tactical nous to be able to take these guys and turn them into, like, the players that they really, really should be? Like, look at the progression of guys like Rob Valentini down to the Brumbies. He was just a big body. He's now one of the best.
But Dale's got a fair point. And to your point there, like, Thorny doesn't need to have the tactical nous.
No, he doesn't.
Because you bring in guys like Phil Blake, Jimmy Mackay. He's an eccentric guy. He thinks about the game.
Brilliant
he thinks about
rugby
the game
brain,
differently.
man.
But at the end of the day, your head coach is the one who picks the team, who's communicating with the players, and that's where these days it's all about man managing rather than actual tactical coaching of the game. Your assistants do that, and then you manage everyone. And I don't think Thorny's the right guy to manage these young guys at this point in time.
I reckon Nella probably needs a bit of a change too, though, to freshen up. Whether he go, I reckon he'd probably benefit from going somewhere else for a bit and coming back. I don't know. Who knows? I don't know. I'm not an expert. I just throw a bit of chat on this show. So yeah.
Well,
It's
either
got a bit
way,
doom and gloom there, boys.
it is. It is a little bit of doom and gloom, but I mean, it deserves.
We just love them. Just love them.
Yeah, 100%. But it deserves discussing because it's 100%. Like you've got, as I said, Nella. He is already, like, you see Stan use him in their advertising for the English series. Like, he's funny as hell. Got a huge and I sound like a bit of a douche here by talking about his off-field credits, but like, this is a guy with a huge social media following from when he was younger.
Australian rugby
awesome
need
story.
him. Australian rugby
He's
need
funny as hell, but then on the field he backs it up. Like
100%.
on what
be
you
hard for
pointed
him,
it out
mates.
last week on YKTR, Ice, Jordan Simi, and Scope were talking about the fact that they watched the Bledisloe, right? And they wouldn't know it was on if it wasn't for like the fact that they're from Western Sydney and they knew some of the boys playing and stuff like that. And they're like, they say, we talk to a lot of these rugby guys that we know, and all they do is they talk about the old dogs just don't understand that, like, let the players be players. And now you look at the NFL, you look at NBA, you look at even AFL and the NRL, you've got players off the field who are personalities and have these
Hectic
personas.
cheese.
Yes, hectic cheese. Like they have their own IP that helps promote the game, and these are the personalities that help grow the game. Nella is one of them. And he shouldn't be hamstrung or beholden to a TV rights deal from Stan from going out and, being a kook, being funny and doing things. Like, he shouldn't get lambasted. I'm not saying he does, but, like, there shouldn't be this, like, aura or, like, this cloud over him that, he can't actually be himself off the pitch for fear of, like, I don't know, some corporate deal.
Getting
like,
sanctioned or...
yeah, like,
getting
let
a
him
fine.
go. Like, let these characters thrive, man.
Yeah.
Because it's got to make the game grow, man. When kids who might watch the Bronx and they might watch the Lions and then they're like, yeah, I'll see the Reds, and you've got this kooky as 140-kilo bloke who can do the splits and loves needling and pissing off his mates on social media. They're like, this dude's awesome. And he's awesome to watch play footy. I don't know. Like, I know that everybody would be looking at the Reds losing Nella from just his playing ability, but I'm also like, you can't lose a character like him, man, because he will help the game grow.
And that's a great point.
Correct.
He will, man. Like, let some characters back into the game and let them be fucking weird because it's hilarious, man.
Yeah.
And he's one of the weirdest. Bless him. Alrighty then. I guess Jack Debrasini's no good.
No, man, they just finished training, so
Let him wrap up.
Yeah.
We'll get him on the blower next
we'll
week.
get him next week.
Bloody oath, man. All right. No, Jack, let's get straight into our rugby. So we did it a couple weeks ago. I assume we don't have any Battlers Bench stuff. I saw Perry Neum at a wedding on the weekend.
No,
And he was saying
don't
he's
invite
written a
him
new
back
book.
on.
He was saying he's written a new book of poems and he's keen to get on the blower. And I was just like, yeah, we'll let you know how it goes.
Yeah.
Thank God the Wi-Fi up in Townsville's no good. But we wanted to do our rugby segment and look at who our rugby is from QPR 2022. So not necessarily who we think was the best, but just someone who we absolutely frothed, obviously. So, Friends, you actually had two. First one up was Dobby.
Yep.
We saw Ethan Dobbins from West. You were absolutely loving him.
Yeah, mate. Like, I think I've raved on about him a fair bit.
Was that in there?
Yeah.
Yeah, mate. Very similar to
Unreal.
me. No.
This is the perfect example of what Dobby does, this little highlight package. It was a career game he played against UQ
that
out
was
of the kennel.
massive,
2
man.
tries, 3 turnovers, the kick chase. Like,
Good lad, too.
Yeah.
Really good lad.
Awesome
That was
bloke.
actually a really good thing about that Sunday night when I was at West, like talking to these boys. Never really spoke to them, but yeah, just good lads. Yeah, Dobby, mate. Game speaks for himself. Look at him. It's just beautiful. Burst over the ball. Was that Flavel who missed it? Shout out to Flav.
But this, mate, like, he has so many quivers to his bow. Dal, did you have much to do with him before he came over to the kennel when he was at Brothers?
Yeah, not much to do with
Brothers.
him, but he was at Brothers, yeah.
Oh, awesome.
And then he was kind of sitting behind Fez, obviously, and looking for opportunities. And to his credit, obviously, same as Liam Musher, they were like, nah, this isn't good enough. We want to play Premier Grade. Left the club before West was what West is. You know what I mean? That was 2 seasons ago.
Yeah, they were there 2020, I think.
Yeah, and so super impressive. But he has evolved a lot. Like, he was a bloke who got around the park like another back rower, but now he's got a really good throw. You know what I mean? He's kind of
Set pieces
his
getting
set
better.
piece
his
is
set
so
piece
much
got better.
better.
He's curtailed that. Used to give away a lot of penalties. He's still on the odd occasion
does
floats
a
in and
bit.
out of that, but he's curbed that in as well. And super impressive this year. I think he was outstanding.
Yep,
Yeah, mate.
100%.
Dobby was awesome.
They
But
did
then
really well with the interchange team, him and Jordan, I thought, in those final series.
100%. Well, yeah, I think the way that they managed that, because we would speak about it here, that, you know, Dobby's probably one of the best hookers in the comp, if not the best hooker in the comp, and then Jordan Walesi's coming back. But I think Elvie did well managing both their expectations and utilising their strengths. Like, Jordan Walesi's obviously set pieces awesome
Unbelievable, yeah.
and very strong
He
over the
played for
ball.
Sunderland,
Whereas Dobby, I think, gets around the park a hell of a lot better.
Yeah.
And I think against UQ, you probably need that early on. And then, as you said, Dal, last week, Jordan Walesi just came on and
Closed it out.
that set piece
Very well.
dominance, mate. So Elvie did well managing both those blokes. And then your other one, Josh, no, what is it? David Feliuai Lene. You
Mate.
froth him.
Mate, he was probably my favourite player all year. Just, I love a big centre. And he was just dominant all year. And
Skillful too.
I'm not sure where he came from either.
He came back from Romania.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So he spent a couple of seasons over there, and
Yeah.
you would probably know better than I, but is he off to Melbourne for a training trial?
Yeah, I think he's down there. He's gone down to Melbourne for that training trial.
I think he will
Um,
chop up down there. Because he's
Mate,
got
this-
it. Because he's big.
And
He's
the
a
size,
big unit.
yeah.
Watch this. Gets on the outside. Gets the hands free. You saw that first try was a chip and chase off a
He's
off a
serious.
kickoff. Like, and this one here puts it on the toe for putting up,
Skillful.
putting dump straight through.
Him and
So there's vision, there's skill, there's speed, there's
everything.
agility. Like,
And him and Tommy Lucas and that they were. If they didn't have them in the back line, when he didn't play,
Yeah.
you saw what happened.
yeah,
Very dominant and in a side that was didn't have the best year, but like for someone to stand out that much, it was awesome to watch.
it's weird with
Big future.
Sunnybank because like they still have blokes like him.
They just got no
come
depth.
through.
They just got no depth.
Yeah, no depth. When they had their similar, their good starting sort of side, they won a couple games, pretty sure. So.
Oh, they beat Uni.
Yeah.
So no slouches, the Bankers. Hopefully they can start stringing it together because when they're good, holy shit, man. Yours, Dow, you spoke about him last week, Angelo Smith.
Actually, I can't believe he's not in one of these teams.
Nah, he's in Melbourne.
Oh.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure he's maybe signed, but he's definitely gone down. And whether it's a trade trial
You
or
can't be
he's
running around
properly
like that,
signed,
not
but
getting
he was outstanding in the final series, scoring tries for fun. But all year he just came from absolutely nowhere and was exceptional. He's a big body and gets around the park like an absolute demon, but was whacking people. Absolutely whacking people.
Where was
as
he
well.
the year before this?
So, Jabel, you would know more than I do, but is it correct that he came straight from Fiji?
I've got no idea.
I was told, and I don't know whether this is
Sorry,
correct, but I was told
I believe so.
he couldn't speak English when he first arrived.
Oh, right.
Is that
Fresh. So he's
French?
fresh.
I'm not 100% on
Did you
this.
see him?
Did you speak to him?
My intel
can't
comes. My intel comes directly from Chips Blanche, who just says that when he came, there were deficiencies in his game, maybe brought on by the fact completely different country, completely different game, and completely different language. But his deficiencies were born more around like things that you might put down to just inexperience. But he said this year he has gone head and shoulders above anyone else at training, on the field. He's so much smarter. And I guess that probably came from, maybe it was just because he was so fresh that, he then learnt the game in Australia.
Yeah.
And
Assimilated to his
yeah,
environment.
because Chips just said, mate, this year he's like,
Well, that
he's
happened to
killing it.
I can't remember his name. Tavita. He was a second rower at West back in 2017, I think, or 18. And now he's playing for Fiji. But he was, when he first got there, same sort of thing. Second year, it was just like, wow, how good's this guy?
Yeah. Well, because they are learning not only a lot of them another language, but another game.
That structure and all that.
Yeah. Chips just said that you just saw something with Angelo Smith this year. He just grew. And a lot of that, I think, comes down to guys like Daryl and Cass sort of running a lot of those finer parts of the game
Cassie?
down there. Cass Holland's the man.
The legend.
He's one of the best blokes you're ever going to meet. Alrighty. Dos, you love him. You rave about him.
Man.
Your rugby for the years, Melly Drew.
I love this guy, man. I mean, I think I haven't seen a good fullback come through for a while now.
Not since
Since you?
yourself, eh, Dos?
I was hoping you guys would say that. No, man, but and that's genuine. Just he's a second playmaker. He's got silky skills. The way he kicks the ball brilliantly, one-on-one, he's got great feet, and he's young.
He doesn't have that explosive pace that
great
you look
skills,
like.
man. But man, I like seeing younger, especially young fullbacks. Obviously, I've got a biased opinion watching these guys come through, but I really believe that he's got the game, he's got the temperament, he's got the skills to warrant, an opportunity at the next level. Man, I think, and he's a goal kicker as well.
Yeah.
And I think that point you made then, Friends, is what he's very similar to Dos and the fact that he makes things look really easy. He's not as powerful as Dos is, but
he didn't have that
he's got time on the ball,
man.
and he's got ability just to slow things down and make the right decision. And
like an old head on a young body.
I love that he rocks the top deck too.
Yeah. Mate,
Yeah,
That is
he's obviously got lots of
strong.
confidence.
Yeah.
too.
strong.
If I had
haircut.
hair, I'd be doing
Yeah.
that.
I'm keen to see how he evolves over the next couple of years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope he sticks to it in Clubland for another year or two. Just, yeah.
It'd be interesting to see how he goes against that development side.
Oh, hell yeah.
It'd be awesome.
All right, hopefully he chops up. Mine, I love him to death. Connor Pritchard from Bond.
Oh, mate.
He is just, I've said it before. I'm like, if you're telling me this guy isn't up to a higher standard already, be it Super Rugby, be it Aussie 7, something, then I'll eat my hat because
How old's he now?
he'd be mid-20s, wouldn't he, Dow?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, about mid-20s. But look
Look
at
at him.
this, powerful, scores tries. He's a good South African Zimbabwean type back rower, like doesn't shirk contact, gets stuck in and goes so hard. And this was that game in the 78th minute on that peel,
Huge,
gets
look at
that
that.
turnover that should have won the game for Bond. Like, he is such a phenomenal footballer, such a smart footballer.
He does
But
everything.
He's tougher than a $2 steak. Like, he's just got everything about him. And he's a mongrel, man. I love him. Love him to death.
He deserves to be in a
Agreed.
professional environment.
100%.
100%.
Yeah, he's good, man.
100%.
How good's the
He's built
footage?
for it.
How good's the footage, mate? This year's been so good watching footy.
It's been
On
awesome,
stand.
eh? Upper stand.
I mean, it's been great. Otherwise, I'd have nothing to talk about on this show.
You'd be
Mate, the highlights, it's just everything's been broken down. They've nailed the algorithm, in my opinion.
Mate, it's they've nailed the algorithm. No, it is good gas, man. It's actually really, really good. The coverage, Zachy boy, has been very good. Round of applause for Zach.
I knew Zachy. He's got shoes on.
Have you got shoes on, Zach?
No.
He doesn't have shoes on, man.
He's earthy.
He's earthy.
Earthy.
All right, well, that rounds out this week's episode
Oh,
of...
quick
What's
shout
up?
out to the Women's World Cup. That starts on the 8th.
It's next week.
Yeah.
I was going to discuss
Yeah,
it next
perfect.
week. I thought we might try and get one of the girls on the
Oh,
bar.
is this your segment?
No. Just thought we might forget about it.
No, we won't be forgetting about it, mate. The women's, well, it's no longer called the Women's Rugby World Cup. They're both just called the Rugby World Cup because they didn't want any disambiguation between the two. So it is the Rugby World Cup kicking off on the 8th, rounding out, I think, November 12th. They've actually changed the setup, so it's a longer format, minimum 5 days between games. I think previously, because a lot of them were still amateur, they obviously tried to just condense it down like a junior carnival, and just, you're playing like 6 games in 8 days or whatever it is. But no, so it's a full setup, and mate, it's going to be pretty awesome over there. I think it's in Auckland, and Whangarei is where they're hosting it. So
Apparently good pies in
Whangarei.
South Auckland.
in South Auckland,
Yeah. I think we've got
Nice.
Whangarei's up north, isn't it?
I don't know.
Yeah, sorry.
You're the one telling the story.
Yeah.
But no, it's going to be red hot, man. We saw on the weekend as well. I think Portia Woodman scored 4 tries
mate.
against the Japanese. So they've dragged back a few of the Black Ferns girls for their 15 side. They're 6-time Rugby World Cup champions, the women's All Black side.
It's going to be a cracker of a tournament.
So, mate, it's going to be awesome when you've got the Kiwi side that have been so dominant for so long, and now you've got professional athletes, some of them making upwards of 60K a year coming from France, England, Ireland, Wales. Like, mate, they're going to come in red hot, and I think you're going to see some birds are going to be bussing each other.
Are any of
Like,
our sevens girls playing?
Shani
Shani.
Williams has come across. She's going to her 4th World Cup.
Oh, and that Bien Torito.
Bien Tarita. So, yeah, the young 19-year-old. So, she'll be there as well. So, mate, it's going to be good.
Yep.
It's going to be bloody good, man. So, but we'll delve into that next week.
Yep.
So, thanks for reminding me, friends. For
No problems,
highlighting
mate.
that. So, tune in next week.
On the
if you
ball.
wanna
On the
wanna
ball, hey?
On the ball,
hear about the Rugby World Cup kicking off next week in New Zealand. As I said before, thank you very much for joining us. Dos, Dallin, Freeney, Zachy Boy on the 1s and 2s, killing it as per usual. As always, like, subscribe, share our content. We want to make the game great again, so get around the boys and girls that make this game great. In the meantime, stay safe. We'll see you on Monday. Ciao.